Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard. Thank you for watching today's Corn Belt Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got another powerful low-pressure system that's going to be developing over the Central Plains, lifting through the Midwest as we go through Wednesday and Thursday. And I know this isn't what we want to hear, but we've got winter weather implications now across the northern plains and the upper Midwest. We look at the hazards map here from the National Weather Service, where we see the red shading in here. That's where we've got blizzard warnings already in effect from parts of Nebraska, South Dakota into Minnesota. Surrounding that, winter storm watches across the, parts of the northern plains into the upper Midwest. What you don't see here is the threat for some severe thunderstorms across parts of Kansas and Nebraska on Wednesday, shifting into the mid-Mississippi and the Ohio valleys on Thursday. And we'll talk about that towards the back half of this video. First, why is this happening? Well, we take a look at the jet stream, and we're watching this trough over the west coast right now. As we play this out over the next couple of days, we see this trough dive through the central U.S. and really amplify. And when we see a look like this, we expect to see an area of low pressure developing here. Let's go ahead and play this one more time. Developing over the central plains, lifting into the north, lifting to the northeast through the Midwest. And that's exactly what we see. We can take a look at a loop of surface winds here over the next 60 hours or so. Watch the state of Kansas there. You see that counterclockwise circulation develop. That's our area of low pressure at the surface, and that begins to lift to the northeast, where it should be across the Iowa and Nebraska border by the time we get to Thursday morning. This shows up well if we look at the loop of temperatures over the next 60 hours or so as well. We see the warm air feeding up from the south in advance of the low. We see the cold air wrapping around from the north and to the northwest, and there you see the powerful cold front very visibly from Oklahoma into Missouri. By the time we get to Thursday morning. And it's along that cold front we would expect to see showers and thunderstorms developing as this begins to push off to the east. Now first, let's talk about the snow. We'll watch this on the precipitation type forecast here from the high resolution NAM model. You watch the low develop over the state of Kansas, and then we see that heavy snow beginning to take shape on the north side of that. Now let me play this for you one more time, because we actually see some snow developing across parts of southern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, maybe far northern Illinois, right in this area during the day on Wednesday. And that's before the low really gets fired up. This is kind of a warm air advection precipitation lifting up over the top of the warm front as that begins to lift to the north. But then it's as we get into Wednesday night into the day on Thursday that we really see blizzard conditions with high winds and heavy snow taking shape across this general area. How much snow are we talking about? Well, it's I know you don't even want to hear it, but we do have the potential for a swath of significant snow here across, again, parts of northern and western Nebraska, much of the state of South Dakota, getting into central Minnesota, into northern Wisconsin. Along this area where we're kind of on the cutoff, this stretches from eastern Nebraska into northern Iowa, southeastern Minnesota, the southern half of Wisconsin. This is where we're on the cutoff line there, where maybe a southward shift brings you more into the heavy snow, a northward shift maybe keeps you in mostly rain. But I do think we'll see at least some snowflakes mixing in there. But you're definitely going to be included in the heavy precipitation, which is just what the real problem is. We've talked about the snow melt across the northern plains into the upper Midwest, and how we wanted to do that without adding too much additional precipitation to the area. And for the last couple of weeks, we actually have been able to do that successfully. We've had a nice little dry window there, but unfortunately the dry window is closing at this point. And we're going to be dumping a lot more snow on the ground here again across parts of northern western Nebraska, much of the state of South Dakota, getting into central and maybe southern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. We'll go ahead and move through looking at total liquid precipitation. So there you see it again. Even if this cutoff for the heavy snow is something like that, still getting into an area here where we'll see some heavy rain and maybe some snow mixing in with that as this storm system moves through. Now you notice the warm sector is mostly dry in this area, where maybe we'll see some isolated thunderstorms develop in this area, but it's not until the cold front gets into central Illinois moving into Indiana that we start to see more widespread shower and thunderstorm activity begin to lifting into this area. And we'll talk about why that is here in just a moment. Here's the Day 2 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, showing that slight risk for severe thunderstorms from northern Kansas into southeastern Nebraska. On Thursday, the attention shifts to the east. We see a slight risk hugging the Illinois-Indiana border, a marginal risk surrounding that, getting down into parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. Now, when we talk about big-time severe weather outbreaks, we've got a couple ingredients we've got to check off. Wind shear, and that we have plenty of. We see this big dynamic low-pressure system moving across the area. We're in the very first parts of the peak severe weather season from parts of the Central Plains into the Midwest across Tornado Alley. And we've got a big textbook low-pressure system moving through the area. And so why am I not talking about the threat for significant severe weather? And that's because we're lacking our second primary ingredient here, and that's the instability, the fuel for these thunderstorms, which would be the warm and humid air that we need to be in the warm sector there ahead of that cold front sweeping through. So we can take a look at dew points over the next 60 hours or so, and what I want you to notice as we start this loop off is this front down here that's moving off to the east-southeast, taking with it the very rich, moist air across the Gulf of Mexico. Now, in advance of a low-pressure system like this, if we were going to be talking about a severe weather outbreak, we want to be drawing this deep, humid air mass well to the north a couple of days in advance of this. And instead, as we play this loop, what do you see? That moisture, again, being squeegeed the wrong direction. It's not until immediately before this storm system starts moving into the area, now you see us getting that moisture feeding up into the warm sector. And that's why I think Kansas and Nebraska probably going to struggle to really see many severe thunderstorms developing in that area on Wednesday. I think we see a slightly higher chance as this front begins to move to the east on Thursday, getting into Thursday evening and early Thursday night, of seeing those strong to severe thunderstorms perhaps developing in the form of a squall line across, again, that slight risk area on the borders of Illinois and Indiana. We can take a look at what that does to our instability. Again, here you see that front that's going to move off to the east, the southeast, taking with it that humid air mass, and instead of seeing that drawn off to the north, we're seeing it really be pushed the opposite direction. Let me go ahead and loop this. There you see the good, rich instability being shunt off to the southeast, and instead we kind of develop meager instability across the warm sector. That was just for Wednesday. We'll take a look at Thursday here in a moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at the precipitation forecast here once more, and that's going to go ahead and show us where these severe thunderstorms might develop. Let's go ahead and play this once more. Let's see, and watch this area right here on Wednesday and Thursday. Let me see if I can go back to where I can jump through over time with this loop. I kind of lost my ability to click through over time. Not sure why that happened. Let's push ahead though, but it's going to be Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, maybe seeing a couple of thunderstorms. You'll see it right here developing, again, late in the day on Wednesday, perhaps providing the chance for maybe an isolated tornado. Definitely can't rule that out, but I think the primary threat, if we see any strong to severe storms developing in this area on Wednesday, is going to be large hail. But then as we get towards the later part of this loop, you see it freeze there on Thursday evening. That's when we see the chance for this squall line of potentially more widespread shower and thunderstorm activity. And this will pose the risk for maybe, again, a couple isolated embedded tornadoes within that. But we're not seeing the moisture that we would need for more substantial supercell thunderstorms that would provide, the potential for a tornado outbreak. But maybe some gusty winds, maybe some large hail with some of these storms again. Late in the day Thursday in that circled area there across eastern Illinois, getting into Indiana. Total precipitation, I'm going to show this in a couple different ways here. Let's go ahead and start with just getting us through Friday. And there you see it again, that heavy precipitation off towards the north where we did not want it. But again, the mostly dry, warm sector with maybe the threat for more widespread shower and thunderstorm activity across eastern Illinois, getting into the state of Indiana and into parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. Now, if we look at this, though, going into next week, if I leave that on there you see the problem. We get this storm system out of the area, and then we're watching for the development of another low, right now forecast to develop over the southern plains and then swing northward. And that brings the chance for more heavy precipitation to parts of the Ohio Valley, the Mid-South there, and another chance for some severe thunderstorms in this area. This would be Sunday and Monday. We may be talking about this threat for some severe weather, but certainly the chance for some more heavy showers and thunderstorms across that circled area. Why is all this happening? Well, look at the jet stream again. That is to blame the very volatile and the very active jet stream across the United States right now. We can watch, you'll watch for these little troughs. This is the one that we see here coming through Wednesday and Thursday this week. This swings through the area, and we get to Sunday. And then mid-next week, Wednesday, we already see another one of these troughs come swinging through. And with each one of these upper-level troughs comes the chance for a surface low pressure, which brings in the chance for those showers and thunderstorms. We're just going to have to watch it as we go through time. We'll take a look at the precipitation type forecast, a little wider view from the European model, and there we see Wednesday. Getting into Thursday, there you see that chance for showers and thunderstorms along the cold front on Thursday evening and Thursday night. The threat for the heavy snow across the north. This begins to move out of the area as we get into Friday evening and Friday night. But then look off to the south. You already see it developing down here. That area of low pressure beginning to lift into off to the northeast. This is midnight on Sunday. That low is over the state of Arkansas. As we move through into Sunday afternoon, the low is over central Illinois. And it's going to be along this cold front as it sweeps through the area that we would be talking about the threat for some scattered showers and storms, the threat for maybe some severe weather. And then on the north side, maybe talking about the chance of more accumulating snow. Again, though, we're talking 5 days out into the future now. Eric will have an ag update for you on Thursday morning. I'll have a Corn Belt regional forecast for you on Friday morning. We'll break this one down in more detail as we get closer to it. The temperature forecast will end here. Let's go ahead and just look at this day by day. Obviously, you can't see any detail that quickly. Look at Tuesday first. Get outside and enjoy it. Still looking pleasant across about the entire Corn Belt, cooling off, though, off to the north. As this low begins to develop there, we see the warm air to the south, the cold air to the north, that dividing line becoming a little bit more clear here on Wednesday with our high temperatures. Thursday, even more clear as that low begins to swing through. We see the cold air coming around on the backside there. The warm air still feeding up in advance of that. So high temperatures on Thursday, still in the 70s across Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. Cooler air comes then in on the backside, though, by the time we get to Friday. Saturday really cooling off. You see all this is because of that snow on the ground. That's why we're so cool there in areas where we don't have the snow. Still warming nicely into the 50s, even on the backside of that. So we get into the day on Sunday and then Monday, though, we see the temperature roller coaster continue. We shift back to a warmer pattern potentially across a big chunk of the central U.S., but that's in advance of another low pressure system that's going to swing through the area Wednesday or Thursday. Again, we'll save details as we get to next week for next week. With that, I'm going to go ahead and conclude things here. If you haven't already, go to my.nutrienagsolutions.com, set up an account with your email address and password. That'll get you access to the Weather Story platform where you can find all of these forecasts that Eric and I are issuing Monday through Friday at this point. So you don't want to miss out with this active pattern. Stay in the loop with the details. Each one of these storm systems, small shifts mean big changes in local areas. So you want to make sure you're staying in the loop and not dealing with forecast information from a couple days ago. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning ag forecast video. That's where he'll be talking about that Sunday storm system, that potential midweek next week storm system, and I'll have your next Friday or your next Corn Belt regional forecast for you on Friday. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.